Before we conclude, Prime Minister, we really do appreciate you joining us this morning, and we hope it's not few and far between that there will be opportunities to have further dialogue with you on the many issues in the public domain, and that we change this idea that our Prime Minister and maybe even our presidents are above dialogue like this. We do appreciate you joining us. But at the end of the day, do you see the situation getting more challenging economically for the country, for ordinary citizens, and how are you prepared to deal with the call for more and more accountability and information from the government?
Well, the government has to level with the population on an ongoing basis. We believe, as we did in the election campaign, saying that we believe that the average person in this country is a decent, reasonable person who wants the best for himself or herself and her family. We still believe that. And if these people are told and they understand that you can't get more and more from less and less, that the behavior, the response is going to be reasonable. All we're asking for is a reasonable response. Because if the country doesn't have it to give you, shouting and screaming and threatening not going to produce it. What we have to do is to try and make ourselves more productive, improve our attitude so that we can make more for ourselves and then we have more to share. We also have a serious problem in confining our consumption to what we can afford. Having a lifestyle to what we can afford. Managing our revenues to get the best of what we have. Ensuring that we spend on what can help us to grow. So these are decisions that we have to make. And those kinds of sensible, reasonable decisions over time should take us out of where we are to a future which we believe could be bright. It might not be spectacular. It might not be a boom, but we certainly can have a decent quality of life as a nation.
And before we conclude, because you are the Prime Minister at this time, because the ministers, the members of your cabinet are the vanguard of what you are proposing as this new style of governance for Trinidad and Tobago, those matters that were highlighted in the manifesto, selflessness, integrity, objectivity, accountability, honesty, openness, leadership, and so on, are you prepared to say?
And they're not confined to the cabinet.
Fair enough. But are you prepared to hold these members of cabinet to account to the extent where, if it is proven, Prime Minister, beyond any shadow of a doubt, that these have been violated, that they will have to go?
They all know that. Don't ask me, ask them. They all know that. I was the first, to the best of my knowledge, leader who took the people who offered themselves, all 40, plus myself as 41, who offered themselves to represent the party in the general election. I took them to a retreat in Maracas, St. Joseph, and as part of the discourse, we had to stop. And I said, after we discussed what this is all about, which is serving the population, and if there's anybody here who believes that coming into this position, if you are successful at the polls, is for wealth and fame, now is the time to leave. And I waited, and nobody left. So I take it to mean that
maybe they feel they'll get away with what they want to do.
Well, I mean, if they get away, more power to them, if they've done something wrong. But on the other hand, if it becomes, if a situation arises which requires that persons be held accountable in such a way that they be removed or be sanctioned or be scolded, then I think every minister knows that that is how it's going to be.
The Prime Minister of the last government said, serve the people, serve the people, serve the people, and it turned out to be Mama Guide the people, Mama Guide the people, Mama Guide the people.
And that's why we are here and they're not there.
Prime Minister, thanks very much for joining us on this Monday morning. We look forward